Hello, everyone. This is Cody Lee, owner of BlackCatBooks.org and author of Cruel and Beautiful, Eye of the Dragon, and the Hero 7 blog. And here I am with a day later than I predicted, Beastars Volume 4. I literally just finished it and immediately bought Volume 5. I guess I'm hooked on this shit now. In spite of the weirdness, in spite of like all the weird shit that's going on in this manga with the sexualization of the animals and like some of the plot threads I don't really care for, that I wouldn't necessarily have thought that I would want. In spite of all that, I am very, very, very invested, and I have to like really give the creators props because like doing that takes a lot of talent. I think the creator has, generally speaking, made a very engaging, very multi-layered, very multi-dimensional set of characters in a very unique, very interesting fantasy setting. And every time we like learn something more about the world, I just end up becoming more and more intrigued by this. For example, like near the end of this volume, Volume 4, we see a bookshelf of like in Lewis's room where where it's all about like politics and like the history of the world and stuff like that, and you see stuff like history of the first herbivore versus the herbivore carnivore world war, and I saw that. I'm just like, wait a minute. They've been in a world war. We're in a post-World War society. Like, you have situations like we get like a little bit of Lewis's backstory in this one. He pulls a gun on someone. Like, really cool, like, mind-blowing shit in general, right? And it's really, really well executed. Even if I, like, can say that, like, yeah, I don't really like Haru. I think she's a slut. I think, like, Legoshi's fixation on her is kind of misplaced. I kind of wish there was, like, you know, more focus on some of these other characters. Like, I think I like Juno more than fucking Haru. But, generally speaking, like, the love triangle between, like, Haru and, like, Louis and Legoshi, like I can't stand it. Like it is terrible that the story is presenting Haru in this light that like she's not doing anything wrong. It just like again, you can tell a woman wrote this because it just has that like kind of fixation on like, you know, a woman torn between two angsty dudes, and it's just fucking bullshit. But it's so well made and so well crafted and generally like so interesting that like in spite of the weirdness, right, like all the sexual aspects of like these furries getting it on, like I legit can't read this in public anymore because like I actually was like going to when I started reading it, but I can't do it anymore because like so many of these panels are like so sexualized and like so weird. I'm just worried that someone will like look over my shoulder and like see some of this shit and think that like I am incredibly I'm a fucking furry. And I suppose this series probably does have an extremely furry fan base, but like I can't emphasize enough how interesting this is. So Volume 4 is essentially like goes into more depth regarding like the relationship between Louis and Haru and Legoshi. Like we start like developing some of these interactions a little bit more. Like Louis and Legoshi don't fucking hate each other, even though they're kind of like with the same girl. Oh, I'm sorry. Like Louis is actually fucking the Chad Louis is fucking Haru, while the virgin Legoshi just stands back and watches and gets angry about it like a fucking cuck. Like he legit gets cucked in this. Like it's just unbelievable. So this thing goes through like a little bit like lots of really interesting segments, right? Where how Louis met Haru for the first time, how they ended up sleeping together, how they kind of formed their relationship, how they kind of treat each other, and it's actually pretty interesting. They actually do have a much more interesting dynamic, but as characters than Legoshi and Haru does, because like Legoshi's like attraction to Haru is I think legitimately like 100% like carnivorous desire. Like I am like 100% on board with like the fucking panda on this one. Like he just wants to eat her, and he's misinterpreting that as like romantic feelings, exactly as the panda explained, like in the last volume. So in this light, like it's kind of interesting how the story is kind of developing these relationships where you kind of have like, you know, Louis and Haru being in this like very unequal relationship where like Louis like doesn't want her like to be seen with him in public or some shit because, you know, she's such a huge thought. Well, actually, there's probably more to it than that. Interspecies relationships, I think, is the bigger deal for him because he needs to keep up appearances because like he has a fiance already. Like apparently in Beastars, you kind of have to like marry within your species. Like apparently, like in this volume confirms that like interspecies breeding is possible. So I'm just kind of curious how that's gonna work out. So yeah, this the volume goes in like depth of like how Louis and Haru met and how like they sort of like develop their relationship and their dynamic, and Legoshi finds out about it, like, and he understands that they are much more Louis is much more intimate with Haru than he is, so of course he gets like super jealous at the Chad Louis, but unlike like the stereotypical virgin who would like go on like a message board and bitch about it to other incels, like Legoshi actually like you know, is trying to come to terms with his feelings with Haru and trying to sort of to do something about it. Like he's still like interacting with her even though like the panda told him not to, which is kind of understandable, right? I mean, it's obviously not going to work at this stage, I think. Like, fucking Legoshi. Let's see here. What else happened in this volume? It took me it took me a couple of days to get through this, so I'm kind of, like, forgetting some aspects of this. Let's see, I'm going through it. I think the big thing is, like, the whole, like, love triangle thing. And the introduction of, like, Juno, the wolf girl. I mean, she appeared in like the last volume, but in this one, I think it's the one where like it really starts developing her as a character, specifically like her genuine interest and love for Legoshi. Now, I'm gonna just say right now that like Juno is a way better fit for Legoshi than fucking Haru. She's another wolf for one thing, and for another, she actually seems to actually like and respect him, you know, and his personality and his behavior and stuff like that. Like actually wants to be with him. Like I don't really see any. I don't see any reason why, other than the fact that he wants to eat her, that Legoshi would ever prefer Haru. Like it's just, he's just being like an idiot at this point. Like just fucking get with the wolf. Like who cares? But of course, like that sort of like thing is probably like the drama of the story. Like this seems to be the angle they're going for, like really going in on this romantic drama shit. But yeah, like Juno, like all around seems like a pretty well-adjusted, like a well-adjusted girl with like who actually gets along with everyone, and you know, wants to be with Legoshi. Like there's no reason not to be with her, basically. It's just like Legoshi just being Legoshi. Let's see, the incel Legoshi. Let's see here. Oh yeah, his friend Jack discovers like the porno magazine. Yeah, the entire thing I think is mostly about like the love triangle, which I've already talked about. And I think the other big thing that we really needed to discuss, like regarding this volume in particular, is the Louis backstory. So we have a little bit like more context as to like what happened to Louis when he was younger. So he wasn't born into his family; he was adopted. He was actually, when he was very young, 5 years old, was in the black market as like food for carnivores. Like they're not legally supposed to be able to like sell meat, but apparently they do it anyway, and so Louis was almost sold and slaughtered for meat, basically live meat to carnivores, until he's rescued by his adopted father Ogma, who is some giant business conglomerate who adopts him and sort of seems to have influenced his worldview a whole lot. We don't get like the entire picture of like why Louis is the way he is now, but like we have a little bit more context. Like we don't know enough about the dad to really make a concrete judgment on him, but like again, it's a little bit more information. We have an idea of like of where this like resentment of being a herbivore comes from, and like his attitude towards carnivores and stuff like that. Yeah, definitely, I would say like Louis, out of all the characters, it is Louis. I think I've had that confirmed to me. Louis, what was I going to get at? Is still by far like the most nuanced, interesting character in this, which again is kind of bizarre since like I just got done bitching about Haru and how nothing about her makes any sense and how I don't care for her at all. But like Louis is interesting. Like every single interaction he has with like another character is like really complex in some way. Like his refusal to allow anyone to see him like mourning Tem's death, his relationship with Haru, like his interactions with characters like Bill and Legoshi, like it's really interesting stuff. Like the character does a lot for me. I probably will keep reading just for just to see how his character arc develops as the story goes along. I'm very curious about where Louis is going to be like at the end of these volumes, or like every single volume. That is something like I've had like some really high praise for this manga so far. By the way, is that like you can totally see how like the dynamics between the characters have changed as the story has gone along. It's kind of all over the place, but I think it's really natural and really fitting. Like it really does feel like a very well done drama, and I just have to again give props to the creators for this. My problem with it, well, this is a very slow burn kind of story, because like I'm reading like every volume now, and I'm just like, okay, what's going to happen next? Is anything bad going to happen? And for like the longest time, like through this entire volume, nothing does. And then we have this situation at the end where like Haru is being kidnapped. By who? By other students? Like by carnivores? Like we don't know who these people are. They just come out of nowhere and just abduct her. You know, she's such a big thought. They like target this girl specifically. No, we have no idea. But yeah, Haru is now in danger, and now at the end of by the next volume, it seems like I don't know what are they gonna have to do? Like assemble a superhero team to rescue her? I don't know. I don't know what's up with that. Yeah, it's very interesting, but. Oh yeah. One more thing of note. Oh, by the way, I fucking love this panel. By the way, completely caught me off guard. I love it. Oh, hang on, I can't even show it on screen. Let's see. The best thing I think this is the best thing I've seen in my life. Fucking Louis holding a gun to a tiger's head. That is fucking badass. Pulled out some fucking heat to deal with this motherfucker. Like they didn't even hint that there were guns in this universe, but he just like whips it out and just like threatens him with it. It's great. Like completely out of nowhere. What a fucking badass. I love it. All right. But yeah, like generally like not a whole lot like happened this volume story-wise. Again, it's a very slow-paced manga, which makes me worry that like it's gonna be one of those things where like they constantly keep intriguing you with like new information on stuff, and then like by the end you like realize like it wasn't really going anywhere. That's kind of like how I feel it might go at this point. But like at the moment, I'm still like enjoying reading it. I really am. Like they're giving you like new information about the characters basically every chapter, and like it's very slow stuff, and like it's not exactly obvious how it all fits together, but it's very well made and very well interesting, and it feels like they can do a lot with this. Now, the problem is, like, again, like I said, are they actually going to do anything about it? Because, like, we're in 4 volumes in now, like, is that really all there is to the conflict? That, like, you know, romantic drama and, like, oh yeah, herbivores get eaten by carnivores, like, is that all there is to it? Like, that's all I've seen so far. It just seems a little bit too simplistic from, like, from a storytelling perspective. I'm not sure, like, if it's gonna go anywhere from here on out. But that's like my one like nitpick about it. Like, I'm not sure where it's going to go, and I think in the long run, like, assuming they do pull it off and make it good, like, it's probably like it was probably for the best. Like, the series has already like really surprised me to begin with how they're handling certain things. But yeah, I'll have to see, man. Like, I think there are only like 12 volumes available now. I'm not sure if like there are more and they just haven't been translated yet or something like that. But yeah, like there are only 12 from what I've seen when I checked. I think there were 12. So like I'm a third of the way through the entire thing. Like, really? Am I really going to hit a brick wall where, like, I have to wait for more volumes? That fucking sucks, doesn't it? But anyway, yeah, so I think that's all I have to say about this volume. I enjoyed it, but not a whole lot after. Compared to last volume, which was, like, filled with great shit. Like, other than, like, the Louis stuff, not a whole lot happened this chapter. This volume, I should say. They could have done a lot more, but I still very much enjoyed it.